Two. Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to a very special edition of Open Bar. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California, and the gentleman that I'll be speaking to with the MexiSeltzer hat is
Brent Laucher. Good to meet you, Mike.
good to meet you too, Brent. We just met like a couple of seconds ago offline, and we're both having the kind of day that we have in the liquor business, which is, and I don't even make anything, so I can only imagine what it's like for you to put out all kinds of fires and stuff. First of all, welcome to Open Bar.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I will, for those folks who are not familiar, MexiSeltzer is I would say one of the hottest ready to drinks, which is a category that has exploded since right before the pandemic, and then the pandemic, it just took off. Exactly. And I love the boxes, and this is the latest flavor for folks who have watched us on our sipping off the cuff reviews. We have reviewed all the flavors except this one, and we did this one yesterday.
Excellent.
It is the brand new. This is the spicy mango. It's right up there with the other flavors that are just amazing. So let me ask you, first of all, Britt, are you does your background, are you coming from the liquor industry initially, or is your background something completely different?
I worked in the beverage industry, but I did a lot of major festivals across America where I was in charge of all of the mostly non-alcoholic beverages. So these are big ones that just happened in different states of the union, where I was basically doing that since I was 20 years old. And I landed into Coachella for a decade, and a decade of running all of the non-alcoholic beverages on the floor entirely. So I worked under them, of course, and I was really subcontracted to the folks of Golden Voice, and I did all of their non-alcoholic beverages. So that was a really big push into the world of, liquid hydration, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I feel I've done a great turn by making sure Mexi is also very hydrating on top of a very fun product.
Well, I gotta say, Jim Johnston and I, Jim is my taster in Ohio. When we started, and it's funny because he and I have a lot of experience with these RTDs, specifically him being in a control state, he being in a control state. And he was telling me during this review that he works for a television station. He was attending the Michigan State game this past weekend, and he said every little town in on the way to Ohio to Michigan, wherever the game was, he says these farmland towns, where they have maybe 5,000, they have RTDs at every mom and pop liquor store. He goes, cool. It's one of the RTDs that we had tasted before, not necessarily MexiSeltzer, but he said that it was really interesting to see how much that category has grown, because once he got to the tailgate, he said everybody in their cooler has either a beer, a wine, and now an RTD. It's like you couldn't walk past them. And this is right now this is tailgate season. It's college football season.
Yeah.
Of course. So now you decided. I know that I've communicated with your partner Alice Chen. Yep. She was the first one to reach out to us, actually. How did you two meet? And how did you decide that this is what you wanted to do next? Because
we've been dating for a little bit.
From events.
Yeah, we were dating for a little bit before we made Mexi together. And so we were dating and just enjoying all these, basically mixing our own skinny margaritas at home and using really high quality tequila. We're using kombuchas mostly too, and getting that flavor profile that was very different that you get from all these really interesting kombuchas, these non-alcoholic kombuchas, not hard kombuchas. Right. And then we were doing our own tequila in those. And of course, we were using those seltzer fizzy waters that are really popular right now with all those flavors. And we said, this has got to be done. And we hadn't seen it. We didn't know that there would be other people coming into it as rapidly as other folks have. But there was one or two maybe on the market before we really got our feet underneath us, which was right before the pandemic started. But we were not actually for sale yet, but we were in full swing, getting all of our ingredients together in Mexico right as March 2020 hit, which was the kickoff of this whole thing. And so we were, just saying, look, we're already this far, let's keep going. And Alice has a really big background in an entrepreneur type attitude. I do as well, as I just told you, with the Coachella and all the things I've done. So it was kind of a neat little segue for us, even though we keep some of our day job doings going on. That's why we're so busy.
Right.
But yeah, nowadays Mexi is definitely consuming most of our time, which is it's a good sign.
Yes.
And it's also telling us that we're doing the right thing as far as the product is good. It tastes good, it feels good, it gets good reviews whenever people drink it for the first time. We are in 30 states if you buy it D2C. I couldn't name all those states. Hopefully it's Michigan, hopefully your friend in Ohio. But again, California is where we really want to stack ourselves deep in California, which is where we have our biggest distribution, and we're over 200 stores deep in this state.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you're in didn't I see it somewhere where you folks just were into Whole Foods? Is that correct?
We are Southern Cal. Yeah. 35 stores in Whole Foods, Southern California, as well as a lot of liquor stores and hotels that have pool parties and things. We're getting in with those these days. So, the sun really never sets in California. So
No.
really,
It
yeah.
never
So we're
rains.
getting invited to different events. We'll be at a big event in Hollywood coming up here. So there's all kinds of things happening for Mexi right now. It's really an exciting time. And especially with this new flavor, spicy mango, we feel like we really hit it out of the park with this one. And
Yeah.
I wanted to mention with that box you showed it really briefly, is that box does have all of the listing of all of our calories, our sugars, more so than on the can. The
Yes.
can, you have to pull it back a little bit.
No, my ring light's a little.
There you go.
There, yeah.
Yeah, and it shows the calories. 120 added sugars, 1 gram. I mean, this is a really easy to drink. Doesn't leave you feeling heavy at all. We wanted to make it refreshing on all fronts. And even the spicy part, which is a little bit of jalapeno in there, just a tiny bit, is very easy to drink. It's just, there's no harshness to it. So
we loved it. Of course, we nominated it as a brand of promise for 2023. And what I found interesting was a couple of things. First, I want to approach you about the recipes. How did you guys come up with those? Because and the reason I ask is we've had a lot of RTDs starting from late night 2019 right into 2020 and then beyond, and it's just catapulted. And we've had some really well done ready to drinks, whether they're cocktails or fizzy, with carbonated water, ranch waters. We've had a lot, and some you can kind of tell that it was just they slapped a label on it to just to ride that wave, the current wave that's going on. And others were very deliberate in their flavor profiles and their ingredients and even their combinations of flavors.
Yep.
So what drove you and Alice to go? I mean, getting the recipe, I don't even know what it entails in getting recipes together, so that because we've had some that you wouldn't think would dovetail nicely, and yet when you taste the finished product, it goes, wow, this is really different.
Yeah, we do. We have some really interesting flavors. Of course, calling it Mexi, we wanted to pay homage to Mexico for doing tequila. And this is their drink, of course, of historical proportions. And so we wanted to make sure that, number one, the name of our company is a neat, sweet way to abbreviate the word Mexico. And we called it Mexi. And on top of that, we wanted to bring in flavors that really represented the spirit of Mexico. And that was what the first 4 cans are all about. And spicy mango rounds that out. So our first 4 flavors are tamarindo, aloe mint, guava spice, and spicy mango. Guava spice is a little bit higher as far as notes and spice, and spicy mango is a little bit lighter if you wanted to compare the two in spice and in flavor. And of course, one's guava and one's mango. So yeah, that's the difference. Is the aloe mint, we really wanted to get that cactus, giving that space a little cooling effect on the spa water, if you want to call it that. And then tamarindo, of course, you just have to bring it in if you're going to really pay massive respect, because that's the flavor that everyone's raised on, of course, in the candy department, which means it's a lot sweeter. It's even more tangy than what we did. We brought that down. We did keep that tang in there, and then we gave it just enough sweet floral And, if anyone's, aware of what tamarindo is, it's such an amazing and historically, favorite candy
Yes.
in Mexico.
Yeah. Well, it's a fruit as well. And honestly, weirdly enough, maybe in some pockets of Southern California, when you go to some of these larger chains of Hispanic, Hispanic owned grocery stores, because I live in a town where they have one. The Vallarta is one that's very heavily entrenched in Southern California. So these flavors really ring true. Or if anyone's ever gone to Mexico and just had a lunch or a dinner or some mezcal, and it's always a variety of fruits, and that's what I enjoyed about this, because we've had other ones that maybe are not indicative of Mexico. You wouldn't think like water spicy. I've had a spicy watermelon, which didn't. Of the 4 flavors we had of this other brand, it just didn't fly. Each one of yours, though, really are interesting and refreshing. My favorite, I gotta say, if I have to pick a favorite, would have to be the aloe mint, and that's the one that I remember the most because it was such a distinctive. And yet, you're thinking when you like mango. We've had mango infused tequilas, and I was talking with Jim. Every time I see mango, I worry. A mango cocktail in a can, because mango's a kind of, it's a kind of fruit. I'm sure you and Alice have had the same thing where it's just sometimes it's just over the top flavor, and then other ones are done so well that and it's either yes or no, black and white. And there's really no in between until you guys came along. And it's like, wow, this is really, and all the flavors are very subtle, as you said. They're very refreshing. They're not over the top. No. There's no reason to kind of go,
and it's, again, the tequila that we use is really artisan tequila. We're using really distinct noms from distilleries that are basically well known. We use 1414. We're using 1459 too. We're doing iterations. We're looking at using a different distillery possibly for our next run, just to keep mixing it up. But getting that amazingly crafted, handcrafted tequila is a big deal. So that's what also sets us apart.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do get ready to drinks that don't have a NOM number, and so technically, for us, when we categorize the RTD categories for our brands of promise, I have to technically put them in a mixto category, even though they'll tell you, oh no, it's 100% agave tequila. If it's not on the can, I can't put it there.
Sure.
Okay, because it just wouldn't be fair to have you guys compete in the same category with the same, ABV and all that if you didn't have a NOM. Now, see, folks, I don't know if you can read that right here on my
it's
screen.
A little bright, but it's there.
Right there. See, there's a NOM number. And I was going to ask you, because I noticed yesterday when Jim and I did the review, it's like, wait a minute, this is 1459. That's another distillery. So why the change in distillery? Is that just the reason I ask is 1414 is a beloved distillery for a lot of reasons, and one of our favorites is Tequila Aficionado. So why the switch? Is it just production or?
Yeah, the Vivanco family is amazing. 1414 Viva Mexico line, which the Viva bottle doesn't make it to the States. It stays in Mexico, and one state, Texas, actually does see.
Texas does have it.
Texas. So I'm sure you can buy it in a certain way, but there's about, if you look on the Tequila Matchmaker on your app, you will find how to get it otherwise through all the different white labels that they help work with. They make amazing Gran Doveo, they make Las Dos, and they make another one that's really, the Arte Nam line, that one, the 1414 Arte Nam. So that you can find 1414 that way. We did do our first 10,000 cans with them, and we're going to keep that license with them going. We just wanted to try out 1459, being that it was also a partner who does use that line, and he became a partner with us. So we were able to kind of dovetail into his supply, his 1459, which is the Blanco tequila, high end as artisan gets, and they've been around for a great, Fabrico de Amatetan, which is on the way from Guadalajara to the town of Tequila. It's off to the right. I highly suggest going to that that distillery. It's a great tour when you get a chance to go tour the facility. Amazing big place. They have a huge bar that's made entirely out of bricks, and it's gigantic, place. So it's a great spot. And they have some great white label lines that they work with too. And one of them is Grand Mayan, and Grand Mayan is our partner in this.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah,
Yeah.
Grand Mayan, we love those guys. They've
Yep.
actually been on our cover as well for
Cool.
Tequila Aficionado magazine.
Nice.
Their aged spirits are well, the whole line is amazing. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Grand Mayan's a good friend of ours too. So there you go. There's the
okay,
connection.
terrific.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's like all in the family for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're looking at Cascawin for our next line. So Cascawin's also well known. We've gotten to be close with them. We're working on the permitting with those guys to get their tequila next. So yeah, we love moving the needle. We love differentiating with the flavors as well as the tequila. So those two things that we're combining with, we feel like is the only way to play this fun game of RTD, which is like, why make it boring? I mean, we want to make this interesting. We love all these interesting flavors. As I was mentioning, these kombucha lines sort of set us in motion. I mean, we were having such interesting kombucha connections with our tequila, from like sage, Pinot Noir, kombuchas, different lines, Meyer lemon, and doing these things, and lavender, and and then we were putting it together saying, well, if this tastes this good, let's bring the needle back a little bit, but let's get kind of wild in our own way. And that's what we have been doing. So yeah, we've been mixing these different flavors, and we decided that these would hit the mark the best. We do have a secret, kind of announcement of another line that we just are going to be launching in 2 weeks time. And so that's going to come in a tall, skinny can, but it's going to still be 12 ounces, still 6% ABV, which is all of our cans are 6%. Right. But now we'll have 8 flavors in total, with the Spirit of Mexico line is the one we've just been discussing. And now we're going to have another one that we're going to call the Wanderlust line. And the Wanderlust line will have its own amazing iterations of flavors. That will be more of a limited edition line, and we'll be moving that flavor profiles and those ones around a lot more, while keeping the Spirit of Mexico solid and cemented for us.
So the newer line will you be using other spirits then?
Yeah, right now we're going to keep it with the 1459 with them as well on the first launch, but because it's going to be such short runs, and Cascawin is looking like to be our next group, we hope that they are. We're not sure where our next batch will come from, but right now, yeah. And again, the Mezcal line is not far away from our conversation as well. So there's definitely things in the works. We understand that the way that you move and you get interest is where you just really stay light on your feet, but you keep the quality super high. And that's what we're going after.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the Mezcal line, because there has only been one that we've ever had.
Yeah,
it was so well done.
Yeah,
I mean, really well done. So you,
yeah.
And I don't know. Well, I have an idea of why there's not more of them out there.
Yeah,
but that's okay. I mean, like I say, I don't make any of this stuff. So you guys, I'll let you deal with the ins and outs of having to deal with another state, another government entity, another denomination of origin, and they run theirs a whole different.
They have a whole different organization that oversees Mezcal than Tequila. Tequila has a CRT working with them. Mezcal has a different group that oversees them. Yeah.
When they can decide which group is going to be taken over.
I heard that.
Yeah.
But there's some great companies out there, and even 14 master distillers. Sergio Cruz works with La Luna, and we might be working with them. You never know. And also our Grand Mayan friend works with the line as well. So there's avenues for that to come at us, and we're looking at that for sure. But yeah, we like the El Anita line that comes out of they make a Mezcal line.
Yes.
And yeah, we're looking at how they did it, and but yeah, we're following our own beat here. We're just kind of going after it. The best thing you can do, and I'm going to show you the can from my angle, is once you get the can, is also to hit the QR code.
The QR code
gives a lot of information about us, as well as where the origin of the tequila. It tells you about the calorie count, the low sugar count, all that stuff, because it's not on our can. It's definitely in the QR code.
Right. In fact, and that was what was interesting, is that when Jim is diabetic, and which is interesting because he's such a gourmet, and he's very, he's got a wide palate. Every time Jim and I do tastings, I learn more from him, because he lives in bourbon country basically. But he, in any case, he said that because of his condition, he really loves the flavors that you have come out because they're not super high, they're not high in sugar. He doesn't have to worry about it spiking his insulin or anything like that. And that's a thought that it hadn't occurred to me, because some of the other ones that we have had, I'll be honest, some of them are really sweet, and maybe higher in ABV, that kind of thing, or they're cocktail.
Yeah. I was going to say that's our biggest issue right now is the education around RTDs. It's really just that when you try one and you come into it and you say it says tequila on the can, a lot of times it doesn't differentiate if it's a cocktail or if it's a seltzer. So we made sure we totally wrote those words in strong, which is right below Mexi, which is craft tequila seltzer. But a lot of companies don't mention if it's a cocktail, like I said, or if it's a seltzer. So you just see tequila and then you try it, but then you end up getting your palate overwhelmed, or the sugar's really high. And the ABV, sometimes they wanted to somehow go over 10% per can, which I think is a really strong can. And I think if you want to be socially, kind of moving forward, when you have more than one, a 6% is right at the right number, because you can digest it, you can assimilate it, and you can still kind of be on your toes, and it's great feeling. Yeah.
Well, it's just, that's the attitude now, is you want to drink smart, drink well. I mean, you guys are using great tequila. Like I said, when I saw it at 1414, and I saw it on one of the photos, one of the pictures on Instagram, because you guys do great work on the Instagram. I don't know which one of you handles that, or if you have something to job that out, but
we have a team behind us and they're really amazing. Yeah. They're going to do another huge photo shoot coming up here. So be prepared. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the videos and the photos and all that. So it's it's nice that you're giving it its own feel and look. Because a lot of what we see out there, especially when it comes to the tequila industry, because that's agave spirits is where we live. That's our neighborhood. And when you see a lot of these brands projecting a lifestyle, and some look really completely contrived, and others really fit. And that's what I liked about yours, because it's very playful, and yet it's a lifestyle, but it's a much younger lifestyle than maybe guys my generation, or people, but younger than me, because every 10 years you got another generation you're trying to figure out how to market to them. And so,
but that's nice, you can relate to it. Yeah, that's nice. You can relate, because it's not moving out too far. We're just having people basically in their natural setting enjoying Mexi at the beach and doing different things that are very subtle, but it's where you normally would have a Mexi anyway. And Mexi, and of course, Mexico used to handle all of California, Oregon, all the way over to, Louisiana, basically through Texas. And so we are just, also honoring that Mexico has been a major part of the history of California. And that is why we're pushing California, as well as looking to get distributorship in Mexico soon, because this is where we really feel like we belong. And in the can itself, with all these neat colors and shapes and things going on, our little salutation that says thank you for finding us, congratulations, and everything else going on. It's a great little read. We have all of our slogans over here, how it's just not made with any BS and everything else going on. But it's just a great can. It just feels good in your hand. It fits for both male, feminine, and masculine. It fits perfectly. And so even with us coming out with a tall, skinny can, we know that even still will work, because it's a Mexi, and it's going to be solid. Yeah.
It's just, everybody's going to the tall, skinny can, everybody's going to that monster started a monster, and everybody's been trying to emulate that can ever since.
It's true. And there's actually slots that are made for it in the liquor stores now, because we really wanted to fill that slot. There's plastic sleeves that they have inside their coolers now that are made for tall, skinny cans. And not all, and again, so we wanted to just make sure that we hit all the marks. And again, it's the flavor differentiation that we feel like will really set us apart, because when you try these, which we'll be sending you some soon, cool. You'll be excited. Yeah, you'll be trying them.
Well, me and Jim are big fans now, so just keep sending it to Ohio, because he loves what you guys are doing now. Now, do you and Alice put the recipes together, or do you have someone that does that for you? Like,
Yeah, we do. We have a major flavor house that works with our tequila. So we send him the tequila to him in bulk, so he can just play with it until he hits the mark for us. But we visit him, we talk to him out of the gates, but now it's more by mail, and he just ships us 1,000 samples from, really strong to,
oh my God.
to really light, and we just
Yeah.
find it in the middle. But we do come up with the idea of spicy mango. We wanted to hit that one out of the park, because we really felt like mango was covered, but spicy mango, and then keeping it light though, not as strong, overwhelming your palate. So you're going to be able to crush these things. You can drink, plenty of them without feeling sugar bombed. You're not going to feel too much from them because they're only 6%. They're just great. Really clean tequila. It's amazing.
Yeah, it. Like I said, we were very impressed with this one particularly because, and I don't know if you've seen any of our videos, our reviews, because I know a lot of the other Instagrammers have had these cans, and they do their own little versions of reviews, and we do a much deeper dive.
Yeah,
we always have, and we've been doing it for 23 years. I mean, we invented drinking online, so nothing changed for us when the pandemic hit. We were just, it got busier, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And of course the RTD lines. So what we do is we like to taste, if we get more than one sample, obviously, we like to taste at room temperature first. And we dissect the recipe. And then like I said, if we have more than one sample, then we'll pause the review and then pull out a cold one. And the reason for that is, and I explain this all the time on the video, I say, look, you're not going to pound this right away. You're not going to do it. Nobody does that, unless you're trying to prove something or whatever. So, you're going to sit there and you're going to put it down, and it's going to get, unless it's, you're someplace cooler, it's going to warm up. You're California, you go out at barbecue, you can put this on your, and then eventually it's going to warm up a little bit. It may not get flat on you, but it'll warm up. And so are you going to enjoy the flavor, even if it's not super cold, like right out of the ice chest? So that's what we do. We taste it first at room temp, because it's been sitting on either my living room floor, and then the night before I always throw one in the fridge. So and all my tasters know to do that, unless of course we only get one sample of each, and then we got to pour the other half over ice, because it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, your recipes stand up.
I hope we gave you more than just one can and you were able to do both.
Oh yeah, we did on all of the flavors, as a matter of fact.
Good. Well, that's very interesting you do that, because that is my story to everyone who ever comes to do samplings with us. We do events and people call us to do all these things. I was just in Monterey at the Tequila People's event at the Hyatt Regency over the weekend.
Yes.
Fortaleza was on one side, El Tequilino was on my other side, which we're all friends with theirs.
Good. Yeah, you're in good company, right? There, man.
And we were just as busy as they were. It was really neat to be there with them. And of course, people were just like, this is amazing. I was trading them out at the end of the show, which tells you a lot as well, because they wanted to take some home.
Yeah.
But the good news is I told people, look, the true test is that this is able to be drank warm. I said, when's the last time you've been able to have an RTD warm? And everyone looked at me, and these are the people that were just coming up for samples. Of course, I was serving it cold.
Right.
But it was neat. It was neat to say that.
Yeah. Well, that's how we do all our reviews.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be at room temperature. I mean, there are we follow a lot of the rules and regulations of the Mexican Tequila Academy. So if I were to really get, specific, there's a certain temperature for a Blanco to be served, a certain temperature for a Reposado, and an Añejo and Extra Añejo. And I don't go that far. I go, look, room temperature. And so, unless you're a nerd like us, I got 13 tasters throughout the US, and I have one in the UK. And we all do, stuff like that. So we're going to smell it. We're going to taste it. We're going to put it through its paces. And like I said, eventually you're going to, you forget you have it. You leave it on the counter. It's going to warm up. But are you going to enjoy that flavor when it warms up, or when it, and honestly, these all hold up at room temp. They're good. They actually, some of these are even better.
Yeah, you can get the profiles. Exactly. You can get the profile. You can get the mango. You can start to separate the flavors in there, and the tequila's in there, and you're like, wow, this is even more, this is better. So the ones that get better, even I'm able to kind of differentiate the ones in my group that are better, is the spicy mango and the aloe mint. They actually get better.
Yes.
It's interesting because I think you get the layers of them, and without seeing them warm, you'll never feel that. You'll just kind of drink it. It kind of gets through you fast. But when it's warmer, you really can taste it for a second and go, wow, that was amazing. There's the aloe, there's the mint, there's the tequila.
Yep.
I'm hooked.
Yeah. And it's I know if
Yeah.
folks are watching this and they watch our sipping off the cuff reviews, they probably go, these guys are nuts. But no, it literally, that's how I said at the beginning of this interview, I said, we've had RTDs where you just know they just slap the label on something because when you drink it at room temp first, there's nothing that sings, there's nothing that talks to you that says, I want to keep drinking this. And then there are other ones that are very well made that stand up at room temperature. And those are the ones that I feel have really gone through have really been deliberate about how they put together their recipes and their flavors. And it's not just a money grab, it's because they really, really care.
Exactly. And that's interesting that you'd pick that out, though. I didn't notice anyone else bring that up to me, but drinks get warm really fast. I don't care. The tall, skinny can, by the way, the phenomenon is that it gets colder faster than these regular size cans, which is why there's also a big push for these tall, skinny cans, but they get warmer just as fast. So when you're at a pool deck or you're at a beach party or you're anywhere and you forget your drink and it's a different RTD that might happen to be made with malt liquor, I won't be putting any names out here today.
No names.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Their initials are White Claw.
It becomes offensive. You're like, this is rude. I don't even know this is nothing as to when it started. And now I don't want to have anything to do with this drink. And it's interesting to know that tequila just gets better almost. Some of them do, at least. You can drink all of them, but some of them actually get enhanced because you're like, wow, that's amazing that holds the test of time in a way. The time meaning a half hour later, to an hour.
And again, I know that in some warmer climates, like I have friends in Arizona, I have people in Las Vegas where you can only sample, with it on ice. You just there's no other way. It's the middle of summer. It's 115 degrees outside. There's no way you can drink this at room temp. And even when you carry it, in your car or in the trunk of your car, it's going to heat up. So but honestly, if you're a real big tequila nut, something at body temperature or even warmer than room temp, if it's a well-made tequila, it's not bad.
It isn't. It isn't. I mean, there you go. That's cool. It's cool to bring it up.
And that's why I kind of look at folks. I don't understand putting an ice cube in an añejo or an extra añejo or a reposado. I've never done it, to be honest with you, because I really do enjoy the meat.
Sure.
Every once in a while, maybe somebody will make me a cocktail with any of those, but you can't, in our opinion, you can't really enjoy what it is that you're having until you have it room temp first. And then honestly, when you pull it out cold, because we know the ice and the cold mutes some of the nose and some of the aromas, but not a lot. Not if the recipe is well made.
Sure.
And so that's where I say your stuff holds up, man.
It's true. Cold is nice to drink when it's hot out. I love it too, but it does kind of mute out your taste buds. And so there's this thing about it. And spicy mango really goes well, like room temp. I'm just saying it.
Yeah, it does.
I had it too.
I agree.
I was like, now I just found my drink. Because this is almost as good, if not better. I don't know.
It's in fact, Jim and I were commenting, it's almost like it's giving you a finish. And it's all the pepper, and I didn't know what kind of pepper it was, and we didn't snap the QR code to find out what it was made with. I just knew it was enjoyable. You know?
It's a mix. It's a chili powdered mix from a little jalapeno and some tajin in there. So there is a mix.
That's kind of what I thought.
Which brings it away from the guava spice. The guava spice is strictly a jalapeno extraction that we put in there. And this one is a mix of tajin and different chilies, basically.
Yeah, it's amazing, folks. If you haven't had it yet, if it's not in your neighborhood. I was going to ask you about this. You put this the California Bear. I don't know if you can see that. What is that? What is it? Is this Cali Spirit? Is that what it says?
Cali Crafted.
Cali Crafted. So that's a little scary because I looked at that and I thought, well, wait a minute. So are they making it in California? No. And I thought, no, they have a known number.
Yeah.
So I figured that somebody, maybe all of you are located in California.
Yeah, and all of our ingredients come from it except the tequila. So there it is. So we basically,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we got the nom over there, but there was no reference to the rest of it, which is us doing all the work as well as the can, the company, the design, and also the flavor comes from California. So we bring the ingredients together with the tequila that comes from 1459, and we put it all in.
The graphics, which really unusual graphics. Could you explain these to me? Because
Yeah,
they
these
look
are
like birds. They look like flowers.
we want that to be a mystery for everyone to just
Oh,
start.
thanks.
We want you to have your own mysterious experience with our tall poppies or our tall desert flowers or amulets. They kind of look like an amulet to some people.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a you'll never tell us then,
Yeah,
right?
no, they just came up from a number of different directions, and this is where we landed.
MexiSeltzer.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. How many partners are actually involved in MexiSeltzer?
So it's Alice and myself, and we have a few of the advisory board folks one came from Bevmo, one came from Diageo. So they're on the advisory board. They're not really partners. And then we have a few folks that are just working directly with us every day. This is their full-time gig. Wow. So really Alice and myself are the co-founders. And then there's really just a large group of being the social media people, as well as just a number of different people that work directly involved with this every single day. Director of sales, our distributorship across California. We have Classic Wine and Spirits. They are up and down the state of California. They're doing a great job. So we're really, we're feeling strong, getting them we got Whole Foods. So we grabbed that one, handed it over to them. Yeah, they're excited about the product. They love this look, this California kind of more desert scape, which really says Los Angeles, San Diego, Yeah. And it's just nice to have them appreciate what you're feeling as well. To have Whole Foods tell you that was a great feeling,
What I looked at this and I thought, wow, there's something to these. Like I said, when I do these open bars and I talk to the brand owners, and it's almost like a reverse engineer, because when you taste something and you don't know who the makers are or whatever, and then you go, wow, there's some substance to this. I really would like to go and talk to the guy or the girl who put this together, or the team, and it's like, now that I've gotten a chance to speak with you, I understand exactly where. Now I get more of a clearer picture as to what this all stands for and what it means for you guys, and it kind of, it's like the missing facet of this whole picture, and that's why I love doing open bars, because it gives me a chance to ask the open-ended question, like, why did you pick RTDs? Why didn't you pick something like Hawaiian Punch or Coke, or but obviously you've already answered that question, because you came from the hydration side of it.
Yes.
I mean, Coachella's in the middle of nowhere,
and it's 100. It was 110 every day. And I saw the need for more than one drink. And, you needed to drink a lot. And back then, by the way, when I was doing the show, there wasn't RTDs out. So beers weren't really selling that much. And that was their main thing that they were trying to sell. So their cocktails were selling pretty good. But I noticed that beers were being avoided at all costs almost. And it's really interesting to watch that. And they told me that. They said, oh, these kids just don't drink beers. And I went, no, they'll drink alcohol if you give them the right alcohol. But this is before the malt liquor crazed RTDs came out.
Yeah.
And so now there's a push to get us in. So we're sending them Mexis, and hopefully they'll even start to look at my product. So I'll have another resurge of Coachella lifestyle, it's not a bad life. It was really fun for 10 years to do that show. As you
that's a long time. That's a good, I think it's a good sample of what you were able to see
Yeah.
a whole generation.
Yes, high volume sales, keeping people hydrated. I had 30 points of sales in the middle of the floor at Coachella. People would definitely plan their day around our carts that were in the middle of the actual Coachella venue, because we were such a small little footprint, but we had everything that was ice cold, from coconut waters to water to, kind of those Gatorade type drinks. And people would just plan their tour around the stages around us. So it was really nice to be there. And now I feel like I'm bringing to the public something even better, the stimulating, beautiful feel of a tequila with the hydration aspect of a seltzer water, sparkling water, organic juice, natural flavors. I mean, this is an amazing product. I feel really good about it right now, for sure.
No, it's again, excellent product. Are there any future plans? And I know that there's a handful, not several, a handful of RTDs that are organic. In other words, they're certified organic. Are you looking into that?
Yeah, we did with this out of the gates. And even, there's different noms that are doing organic certification. So we wanted to combine the two, because you couldn't do one without the other. I mean, you can say it, but you can't put it on the can. So it's almost pointless. So we wanted to make sure we married the two. So we're looking to marry that together once we can get certification again with the distillery. A lot of people are using 1414 as an organic distillery. They have it walk through, I believe, in certain fields, and there's certain certifications. But anyway, we didn't totally push into that, but that is a good push. The fact that it's gluten-free, as you know, organic would be another thing. I mean, there's all these little facets that people really look for. But yeah, we do use all natural flavors. We were told a lot of it comes from an organic source. So, that's the good news, but we haven't got it certified yet.
Okay. Yeah. And I know that that's a little bit complicated and pricey.
Yeah, for sure.
And right now it's probably even more, it's probably more cost effective for you guys to worry about the distribution and how many states you're in, and gain a foothold in this market.
Our big push is the distribution through online sales, so D2C. So on, MexiSeltzer.com is the best way to basically get Mexis to your door. And we feel like, if you use Adventure 10, right now you can get 10% off. I believe that pops up right when you come onto the screen. It offers you 10% to be a subscriber. But if you use Adventure 10 and not subscribe, you'll still get the 10% off. So subscribing, as you know, subscription online means it's going to keep coming monthly, or however you set it in motion. Right now, it's only for those 4 flavors: the tamarindo, the aloe mint, spicy mango, guava spice. So those 4 are online 100% right now. But as far as the next 4, they're coming very soon. So that's the good news, because we're gonna have to do this again. Might be with Alice, might be with me.
Yeah,
it'll be fun regardless.
That'd be cool. Maybe in person. I don't know.
Maybe in person.
Yeah, if you guys are you in? We're in
the Bay Area. Yeah, we're in the Bay Area.
We're in the Bay Area.
We're in Santa Cruz, California, which is right south of the Bay Area.
Right.
Becoming the Bay Area, because it's all becoming one big place now.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I know
that's the good news. So it's good. I'm glad that we grew up. Santa Cruz needed to grow up a little bit and become part of somewhere, I guess. It's always been
instead of claiming their surf city. And,
yeah,
I'm from under Huntington Beach.
Right. I know that was a big deal for a minute, but it's nice. It's a very entrepreneurial spirited town. It's a beautiful place, and it's great because it's really inspiring to be from here. And so this is where we come from. And yet we are coming down there to do a lot of events at the late part of this month, basically the last few days of October. There's a big tequila event going on at the Hollywood Cemetery, which has that big event on the last week.
Yes, for Day of the Dead, I think.
Yeah, there's a Day of the Dead part of that event. Right. That's going to be a big tequila experience. We're going to be inside that.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that's a separate entry fee. You have to come into the main event to get into that event separate, but you do get a glass and you get to sample a bunch of tequilas that will be there, mezcals as well. And then we'll be the only RTD there. We're being invited to that. So that's looking good on the 29th of this month to be at, as well as Palm Springs Pride event, downtown Palm Springs on November 6th and 7th, or 5th and 6th, something like that. And so we'll be at a couple pool parties and a couple different events there. and that will do our tour of Southern California. So in between that time, if we're going to launch, I'll ask Alice if it's timely, we'll come by and find you so we can do a little preview, at least get you some cans. What part
Sure.
of Los Angeles are you in? Where are you at?
I'm in the San Gabriel Valley, so
Oh, perfect.
it's like West Covina Baldwin Park area.
Yep.
I'm east of Los Angeles. In the old days,
Yeah.
we were only like 40 minutes from Dodger Stadium. Now, we're full on traffic. It could be an hour and a half, two,
Yeah.
3 hours.
I know where you are though. Yeah, I know where you are. That's a beautiful area too. So again, it's going to be in our tour of being around that area. So we'll be in touch.
Hey, I'll be here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, because I know that the week before Thanksgiving, I actually have a distillery tour that I'm going to for 3 days. I'm not going to visit your distillery, although I've been to Vivanco. I've been to that. That was one of my first distilleries and one of my first trips to Mexico.
Nice.
Was to visit them, and the patriarch was still alive. This was a while back.
Yeah.
And they've been a favorite of mine and our founder of the website for years. We love Gnome 1414, everything they do. Of course, for those of you who know, when they ferment their tequila, they use what I call the Mozart method. So they play classical music while the yeast is fermenting, and it's a beautiful location. I haven't been there in a while, so I understand now that it's expanded where it can handle the canning and all that. And
yeah, they built a little canning facility off to the side. They did. So the third generation, Sergio's there doing that, and he's really cool. And so we're gonna probably move back, like I said, and do some cans with him eventually. But yeah, they do the Mozart method when they're fermenting, open air facility.
Open air fermentation. Yeah.
Open air fermentation. And yeah, if you're not going to do that, hopefully you get a chance to swing by Cascawin, which is also a really beautiful.
They're on my radar. It's just I haven't, the pandemic kind of put a crimp in that. I mean, I have a passport. I'm not afraid to use it, but the traveling kind of was on hold for a couple of years, and this is actually my first time back, and gosh, I want to say 5 years. And the last time I was again on assignment, and that was to do a little damage control for another brand that we had worked with.
Sure.
But this one is more of this will be a fun trip, and it'll be another distillery. A lot of the distilleries that have been there for 50, 60, 70 years have a lot of pedigree and staying power. And I'm visiting one that I had heard about, but had never been.
Sure.
I started doing tours of distilleries before tours became a thing.
Yeah.
It was not, there were not any tour guides. It wasn't anything organized. It was like, one guy taking the reins and going, okay, we got to visit these people and that people, and we got to get, and that's, I did the very first tour of 35 separate people who had never met. We were all a member of one online forum.
Nice.
Okay, before Facebook.
Yeah.
And it was like the biggest blind date I've ever been on. And it's changed my life ever since. And I was doing tequila shows prior to that trip, but I had never been to a distillery. So, and every time I go, I'm just enchanted more and more.
Yeah, you're making me want to go back right now. I mean, I love this time of year, the cool mountain air. It's high elevation. You get that really beautiful, just the beautiful air that whips through the highlands of and into the lowlands.
Yes.
It's just sitting in the back porches of these distilleries, having a tasting, overlooking the blue agave fields. It's like nothing else on this planet.
Yep.
And you really do fall in love with the people, the place, everything in that moment for good reason.
Yeah. It really is life-changing. Let me ask you this: now that you've been in this arena for a little while, what changes have you seen just in the time that you've been in it? You and Alice have been involved in this. Where have you seen? How have you seen the RTD category from when you started to where it is right now?
Yeah, there's some big players that want to jump in, as you can see, but the big players we feel like won't hit the mark with where people that really pay attention to product quality and nom and origin and things like that. So we also see that. So we see some big people trying to jump in. We haven't seen their line. We heard they were coming. I even saw the boxes being printed for a really big Ed Hardy moment. I haven't seen the Ed Hardy line yet,
Wow.
but I already saw how they weren't really presenting the nom. But they were going to make it with tequila again. I just didn't even know where it was coming from, and yet they're going to be out there someday soon, I think. But we're looking at it with different eyes, with the people that are going to be much more involved in it the way we're involved in it. So there is about a 5-pack of us that are out there right now of small kind of lines that do use real tequila. And
Yes.
it's nice to be part of it. It's the family of us. Not that we connect with them or talk with them every day, but we all are independent of our own people, in the way that we're all from different states, which is kind of ironic too.
Yeah.
We're not all from California.
No.
Yeah, so different states had people that were inspired as Alice and I to jump in, make an RTD, call it something different. Thankfully, there wasn't any name infringement problems. And yet here we sit. Now there are a couple bigger lines coming up to, I think, just try to bring the price down through huge investment capital. Again, they supposedly use a tequila, but they don't put a nom on it. And we'll see how that plays out, because I believe that these artisanal type craft drinks that we're making, they have huge merit. And the IPA line and all the beer people prove that. They prove that it
Yes.
has merit to do it in a small craft type way. And we knew that going into this. So we actually just knew that, stayed that course, and we're going to keep going that way and only enhance that by, again, Cascaween is in our sites. We're getting the paperwork together with them. We really want to kind of look at small artisanal distilleries like 1414 and 1459, because as you know, Grand Mayan has made a great name for himself with
Yes.
that
Yeah.
line and that recipe that he uses, and we get to benefit from that recipe right there.
I was going to ask you too, will that be part of the marketing for MexiSeltzer going forward? I mean, the information here, unless it's on the QR code or on the website, but it's not, it's not known. People who are just scrolling through Instagram, will that be something that you're going to present as a selling point? That we're not just, we're working with several craft tequila distilleries, not just one.
Yeah. Well, financially right now, we've only been able to afford one at a time, like we're not able to kind of, overlap them. There's still some 1414 out there, by the way, from just at different stores right now. It's still selling through right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 1459 is going to kind of tidal wave in, but then we're going to tidal wave over the top of that soon enough too. So that's the goal, is just when we buy more tequila, it's going to come from a different place. So, eventually, the Arte Nam, like I mentioned earlier, who uses 4 or 5 different distilleries to make different tequilas, we may say, hey, look, these came from this distillery. Like I was mentioning to you, the tall skinny can is going to get switched, and we might only switch it once the new distillery comes into play. Flavors, that is, like the flavors will stay the same until the distillery changes, if you see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense for people, as well as it becomes a little bit more of a cult following, in that department.
Yeah, you could have your own line of Mexinome.
Right. I can tell people like you do pay attention, which is exactly why we were doing it the way we did it, because we wanted.
Well, I'm thanking you. I love these flavors. Jim loves them. Cool. We can't say enough about them. I think you really are onto something. Again, there's a handful of these well-made RTDs that are very deliberate. They've taken their time with the recipes and the look, the everything, the packaging, from the packaging to the juice inside, and that says a lot. That speaks volumes to me. I love, speaking with you about it. Before we wrap up, I want to ask you one more question. Where do you see MexiSeltzer and you in 5 years?
Well, I see us in more than just this country, because we're already kind of good here. We have 30 plus states, like I said, online, but I'd like to see us in Mexico in a big way. Like I'd like us to be at every resort town you can shake a stick at, as well as for the locals in the cities of Mexico. So that's my goal. I'm working with someone down there right now, personally, on this project.
Wow.
And he's looking at, he's already deep involved. So he says that it looks good. That's before the 5-year mark. 5-year mark, I'd like to have so many different different flavors that will just be stuck though with a core group of them. We don't need to have 40 flavors. We need to have, I feel like 8 flavors would be a good mark, and that those flavors are such home runs that you just can't get enough of them. So that's our goal.
But I gotta tell you, and it was the one that I remember the most is that aloe mint aloe. It doesn't even matter to me because it's just, I'll drink it warm. I'll drink it hot because I'm sure it'll be fine. And this one here, spicy mango, or just, folks, if you haven't had any of these yet, you've seen it maybe on Instagram, or on social media, you should go out and try it. Yeah, really. I mean,
and remember the code. Remember the code Adventure10. Adventure10 will get you 10% off right away. That helps with the shipping. That knocks the shipping out. And then there you go. You can get it to your door. Try it out. Again, we're in 30 states. I couldn't remember exactly all of them. California, 200 stores. Look us up at MexiSeltzer.com, as well as on our Instagram at MexiSeltzer. You can look up our store finder, and there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And if you haven't seen our reviews, just check our YouTube channel, check TequilaAficionado.com as well. We really dissect the hell out of these, and they stand up. I'm telling you, they held up. Thank you very much.
It was really cool being here. I'm thirsty now. Now I'm going to have a Mexi.
Well, you're going to book a flight to Mexico next.
Yeah, we've been down there a lot more than you have lately. I'm glad to hear you're going.
I bet that you have. I'm glad I'm going too. I mean, it's time for me. Sometimes you really do miss that area, especially when you're in this industry. And I wish I could go more often.
Yeah, I can't say enough. I can't say enough for people to fly into Guadalajara and get a tour set and stop along that highway all the way down to the town of Tequila, and then stay a few nights at Casa Salles, which is the that's
the boutique tequila,
the
boutique hotel for
Casa Salles. Casa Salles is the boutique hotel. It's owned by El Tequilino. I can't say enough about staying there. You're a walking distance to the downtown square of Tequila. You can walk to different distilleries right there. You're in the heart of it. And again, then you get a ride out of there back to Guadalajara, and your life has changed from that point forward.
Yeah. Again, the hotel is on my radar. Lots of things are on my radar. But anyway, thanks so much, Brent, for being here. I so appreciate your time. I know you've had a crazy day. I'm probably we're going to go jump back into our crazy days.
Nice.
But let people know, folks, you were watching and listening to Open Bar with Brent Laucher. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, you got it. You nailed it. Thanks, man.
And you are a co-founder of MexiSeltzer. And I'm telling you, folks, go to the website, go get yourself one delivered to your home. You'll thank me later. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like. That helps with the the YouTube algorithm, which they keep changing. If you're listening to us on the podcast, hey, just download it anywhere where you get your podcast. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente, sip wisely. Thank you, Brent. I so appreciate your time.
Salud. Enjoy the Mexi, guys. Go
you bet.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, here we go. Okay.